This is Colorado and Company, and you know, anyone who's been to Rocky Mountain National Park knows it's a living showcase of the grandeur of our Rocky Mountains. There are countless opportunities for breathtaking experiences and adventures, if you know where to go.
Yeah, that's the secret. Lisa Foster is an employee at the Rocky Mountain National Park. She knows the park better than most, and she's written a book called Rocky Mountain National Park, The Complete Hiking Guide. And Lisa joins us now. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Before we get started talking about the book that you've written, tell me what you do at Rocky Mountain National Park.
Well, I'm a biological science technician, and basically it's wonderful. They pay me to hike into the backcountry of Rocky Mountain National Park and collect water and precipitation samples for scientific studies, for long-range scientific studies. So it's pretty great.
You get paid to do that.
I get paid to do
something you love to do. That's a good thing. Now, what inspired you to write the book?
I wrote this book because I love Rocky Mountain National Park. To me, it's the most special plot of preserved land on Earth, and I want everybody else to love Rocky Mountain National Park as much as I do. So I spent 15 years researching this book, going into the backcountry and researching the destinations I write about. Wow. And then I spent 2 years working at a computer, actually. Yeah, these are some pictures from my book, actually. Working at a computer, writing all this down and everything. So it's really my life's work. It's a wonderful book. It's been really well received. So
wow,
yeah.
These pictures are fantastic. And you know, we have to note that you took every picture in this book, except for an exception. There's a few by John Fielder, which is a fabulous photographer.
Yeah, John Fielder's a very notable Colorado photographer, and he is also the owner of the publishing company that I went through. And so the two photographs that are on the cover of the book are his, but every photograph within the book are mine. And it's just wonderful that I was able to take all those photographs. I was in the right place at the right time a lot, and people love the photographs. That's, you know, this could have been a very text-heavy book, but instead we've made it into this glossy, beautiful book with all the text that needed to be there and really wonderful photographs. So people are really appreciative of that. So
15 years of research. Tell us about some of the tales of going back into the backcountry and getting some of these photos. I imagine there's that's a whole other book in and of itself.
It is. It really is. It was a very exciting project. It still is. It's still ongoing for me. And I put my heart and soul into this book. And there are so many tales to tell about experiences that I had in the backcountry. One I can tell you right now is in the summer of 2004. I'm the only guidebook author I know of who has actually gone to every destination that he or she writes about. Wow. There are 686 routes in this book to varying destinations, and I've done every one of them, which is unusual for a guidebook author. Typically, they'll do a lot of the things, and then they'll rely on other information from other people to say, you know, you did that route up the north face of Longs Peak. What was that like? I haven't been able to do it. My deadline's looming. I need to get it in.
Right.
But I undertook it upon myself to actually go to every destination I wrote about, which was very challenging. And in the summer of 2004, which, if you remember, was a very wet summer, it rained all the time, rained, snowed, hailed. I was under pressure to get the rest of the hikes done for this book because my deadline was looming. My deadline was January 1st of 2005. And the last named summit I had to climb in Rocky Mountain National Park, we were able to get it in. There was a snowstorm coming the next day. We had to get it in. This was after back-to-back days of 20-mile death marches. We called them just grueling hikes coming in, you know, every day trying to get these hikes done. And the last one was a very sharp, precipitous peak called Pilot Mountain. And we got to the top of it and we could see the weather coming in. And so we started to scramble down. And we got about halfway down and the tempest hit. And it was rain and snow and hail and wind, gale force winds. And we come running down and go through the trees. And we popped out right at a lake called Thunder Lake. And there's a Rocky Mountain National Park Ranger patrol cabin there. And we were freezing. We were soaked to the bone. And there happened to be two rangers there, and they looked out into the storm and saw us, and they said, "Would you like some tea?" And they invited us in for tea, and all the adventures I ever had, and the many times I was soaked, the many times I was beaten by wind, that was the only time anybody ever invited me in for tea.
So those are some really memorable stories and some challenges. But I also want you to talk about the very special dedication. Tell us about that tribute.
The dedication in my book is for a very special friend of mine. When I first came to Colorado, I'd never really been in the mountains. I'd never hiked. I'd never done anything, and I fell in love with it. And I went up Longs Peak for the first time, and it blew my mind. And one of the first people I met, his name was Ronnie Campbell, and that's who I dedicated the book to. And he and I together learned to love this park and explored this park and even talked about writing a book. Wow. So way back when I first came to Colorado, this idea for this book was in my mind with him, and he and I formed a special bond. He saved my life twice, and in Rocky Mountain National Park, you know, in our adventures, and he's just a great friend, and I just wanted to let him know how meaningful our friendship was for this book. So
Fantastic. Now, Earth Day is Saturday.
Yeah.
How are you going to celebrate? We got about 15 seconds.
Sure, I'm going to go up into the park like I always do with some of my friends and enjoy a beautiful hike. That's the best way to celebrate Earth Day, is to get out and experience it.
Wow.
Fantastic.
That's
Fantastic.
great.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. We look forward to reading
my
the book.
pleasure. Yeah.
And
Thank
looking
you.
at the pictures.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Gorgeous
exactly.
pictures, yeah.
If you'd
Enjoy
like to
it.
buy Rocky Mountain National Park, the complete hiking guide, just go online to